need to recap our discussion yesterday by the reporters. They started by telling us that forecasting could be done formally or informally. And then nagbigay sila ng mga examples natin for those types of forecasting. And then ito yung ating mga forecasting models. We have number one, yung time series. And sa time series, wala tayong variables maliban lamang sa kung yung meron tayo, like for example, sales. And so we are going to base our forecast based on that particular data. And then meron tayong pangalawa yung causal model. Sa causal model, we are going to determine the variables that cause the dependent variable. And then meron din tayong pangatlo, the counting methods tulad ng market survey. Magsusurvey lang tayo. For example, sa room na to, we are going to survey kung halimbawa ibebenta ko tong speaker na to, how much are you going to how much are you willing to pay for it, and how many speakers are you willing to buy? Based on that survey, I can forecast how much or how many units will be demanded by you from this classroom. The second is yung market testing. Pwede kong i-test, for example, yung aking product, and if you like it, I will see from the result of the testing kung ano yung magiging actual result once we officially launch the selling of our product. And I guess the last one is yung ating judgmental model. Under the judgmental models are yung ating Delphi or Delphi models at sa expert opinion. Okay? So, balikan natin ng mabilisan. Time series, you have moving average. I guess wala tayong problema sa moving average. The idea under moving average is kung ano man yung meron tayo na previous data, i-average lang natin yon. It could be the 3 months previous data or yung 4 month na previous data. And I guess even sa inyong intermediate accounting, you did this. If you remember, if you did have a discussion on the inventory estimation, naalala niyo ba yun sa inventories ata? If meron kayong discussion sa IA, meron ba kayo nun? Halimbawa, nasunog yung inventory. Naalala niyo pa ba? And then, halimbawa, hindi natin alam kung magkano yung nasunog na inventory at magkano yung ending inventory natin. So we are going to estimate. Does that ring a bell? Meron kayo nun, no? Or sa auditing problem yun? Pero meron ata kayo nun. And then, para ma-estimate nyo yung ending inventory, you need to have the gross profit rate. Tama? Pero kung walang specific or given na gross profit rate, pwede mong i-estimate from the previous data. So pwede meron given na sales at sa cost of goods sold from the previous years, pwede mong i-average yun. So i-average mo yun. In fact, may mga methods pa doon. Pwede kukunin mo yung lahat ng total sales, tapos i-divide mo by the total cost of goods sold, and you will get the average. Or, pwede rin na yung trend. For example, from 2021, the gross profit rate is 20%. 2022, naging 22%. 2023, naging 24%. Then by 2023 na, or 4, what we expect will be the gross profit rate based on that trend 26. Diba? Kasi nag-increase siya by 2%. O pwede rin i-average. So parang ganun yung ating estimation. You base from the previous data and you average it. So meron tayong simple moving average. Simple lang kasi in-average mo lang. Meron din tayong weighted moving average. Meron tayong ina-assign na weights for each particular data. Basically, we assign the weights to the we assign the heavier weights to the most recent data. So, may mga examples dito. Skip natin yan. The next one is yung ating exponential smoothing. Ito yung ating estimate based on the previous forecast. Halimbawa, tulad ng binigay ko na example, our forecast in the previous period is 35 units, but it turns out that the actual sale is 30. So when we make the forecast for the next period, we are going to use the previous forecast na 35, pero i-adjust lang natin based on the value of A. So how do we make adjustment in 35? We plus or add A. Yung A is given, it could be a value from 0 to 1, multiplied by the difference between the actual and the forecast. In my illustration again, 35 is the forecast, 30 is the actual. Mas mababa yung actual, so magkano yung difference nilang dalawa? Negative 5. And if the value of my A is 0, what will be my forecast for the next period? If the value of A is 0, my forecast will be, for the next period will be 35. Still 35. Which means to say, kung ang value natin ay 0 for A, as if wala tayong adjustment. Yung previous na forecast, yun pa rin yung ginamit natin na forecast for the next period. Kasi nga, 0. Kapag naman 1, yung ating value for A, what will be our forecast for the next period? 30. In that case, ang ginamit natin na forecast is yung mismong actual na sale in the previous period. Therefore, if the value of A is closer to 0, then we are putting more emphasis on the previous forecast. Kapag ang value naman ng A is closer to 1, we are putting more emphasis on the actual sale in the previous month or previous period. So may mga example yan, exponential smoothing. And then after exponential smoothing is yung trend projection. This time, meron tayong data, for example, or record kung ano yung mga naging previous sales. Halimbawa, we are going to make a trend equation for that data so that we can project ano yung mangyayaring sales in the future. But in the trend projection, wala tayong other independent variable maliban lamang sa halimbawa sales, yun lang yung ating variable. So we are going to create an independent variable which will be the time. So the problem is what will be the values for the time. We will be assigning values for the time using 0 plus 1 or with 1 increments. So same lang yung ating computation sa ating regression. So we are going to develop this equation. Y is equal to A. A is the constant plus B. B is the slope, or B is the, kumbaga sa cost accounting, that is the variable cost per unit, plus or multiplied by X. Ayan, X is our independent variable, and under trend projection, that is time. So how do we compute for the slope? We compute for the slope using this formula na mentioned din ng reporters last time. Ito ay na-derive actually from yung cost accounting na NBEX, XX of X, Chuchu. So basically, you derive that equation or formula. In the denominator, or numerator rather, yung sa taas, summation of xy minus nx bar times y bar. So parang parehas lang yan siya sa baba. It's just that sa baba, the denominator, yung y natin papalitan lang ng x. So summation of x, which is basically summation of x squared minus x bar times x bar, which is basically x bar squared. So with that formula, if you also observe, pagdating sa trend projection, since nag-assign tayo ng values for x, at ang total ng lahat ng values for x will somehow or eventually result to 0, itong terms na to ay nakaka-cancel out. So basically, ang formula lang natin for B, for trend projections is ito lang. Summation of XY divided by the summation of X squared. Ayan, so you are going to, pag nasolve mo yung ating B, you're also going to solve for A. Under trend projection, A is simply equal to the average of Y. Ignore this one, because anyway, X will always be, X bar will always be 0 under trend projection. So madali lang kapag trend projection. Highlight ko lang din na pag mag-assign tayo ng values for add number of periods, we simply begin from the middle year and then we add increments of 1 for the recent periods and then deduct an decrement of 1 for the earlier periods. Bakit nag-deduct or nag-add ng 1? Para yung gap, no? Para yung gap between these values will remain to be the same. So, halimbawa, 3 at saka 2, ang difference na is 1. 1 at saka 2, ang difference na ay 1, and so on and so forth. For example, 1 and 0, ang difference na ay 1 rather. Kapag naman, add or even rather, meron ba tayo example ng even? Wala. So, halimbawa, even, so mag-start tayo from the 2 middle years. So, yung 2 middle years natin, mag-assign tayo doon ng value, and the value that we are going to assign is 0.5. Bakit 0.5? At hindi 1? Kasi pag 1 yung nilagay natin doon, ito yung sinasabi ko dati sa consultation, akala ko mali yung explanation ko. Pag nilagay mo kasi yung 1, yung magiging difference ng 1 at saka negative 1 will be how much? Magkano yung distance ng dalawa? 2. So, ibig sabihin hindi magiging constant or uniform yung distance from each value. So, para maging constant, we start from 0.5 at saka negative 0.5. Same lang ba? 1 lang ba yung difference nun? 1, di ba? So, last time nalito ako doon. So, 1 lang. So, if you get the difference or the distance between 0.5 at saka negative 0.5, the distance between the two is actually 1. And you're going to maintain that. So dapat from 0.5, mag-add ka lang ng 1, and then magiging 1.5, dagdagan mo ng 1, magiging 2.5. So dapat yung distance ng one value from the other value will have to be 1. Meaning constant or uniform na 1. So yan yung ginagamit natin na 0.5 at hindi 1. Kasi na if 1, medyo malayo yung distance ng 1 at saka negative 1. And then, after trend projection, meron pa nga tayong naging support doon. We also have causal model. Under the causal model, we determine what causes the independent variable. So we regress a dependent variable on an independent variable. So pagdating sa research, marami itong examples. The same formula, ito yung sinolve ko nung first meeting. Pinakita ko to sa inyo, yung derivation, hindi pala ako nag-derive, pero pinakita ko sa inyo yung example ng problem solving for this. Meron tayo B is equal to that fraction, and then you derive letter A. So simple regression, madali lang kasi meron lang tayong isang independent variable, and pagdating sa multiple regression, ay marami tayong variables. Ito tulad ng pinakita ng reporters last meeting. Halimbawa, the quantity of sales is actually determined by 3 variables. Halimbawa, the quantity of sales is equal to 50 units plus 20% of the advertisement minus 3 times the price of the product. Halimbawa, ang binibenta natin na product ay, let's say, cars. So, let's talk about cars. Halimbawa, Hilux, so Toyota, Hilux. Halimbawa, ang kalaban ni Hilux ay Ford, Raptor. So Raptor versus Toyota. Ang binibenta natin na product is Hilux. So pag mataas ang presyo ng Hilux natin, what do we expect? Kunti lang yung bibili or bababa yung sales natin because tinaasa natin yung presyo ng ating Hilux. On the other hand, meron din tayong other variable which is P2, which will be halimbawa the price of the competitor, the price of the substitute product. In our example, the Raptor of Ford. Pag tumaas yung presyo ng Raptor, you can expect na medyo dadami yung bibili sa atin. Kasi mahal na yung Raptor. So why would they even buy Raptor kung pwede naman nilang ma-afford ng mas mura yung Toyota Hilux? So parang yun yung ating determinants of sales. 50 plus 20% of advertisement. So kung magkano yung spend natin for the advertisement ng bagong Toyota Hilux, that will obviously determine or cause the increase in sales. So in this example of multiple regression results, halimbawa, if we spend 1 million for advertisement, what do you expect? What will happen to our sales? Assuming other variables remain constant, our sales will increase by 200 units. Bakit 200? Yung 0.2 multiplied by 1 million, that will give us 200,000 units. So 200,000 units yung magiging increase natin in the sales. Assuming the other variables are constant, kung sa economics that is ceteris or ceteris paribus. Negative 3 to the multiplied by price 1. So ibig sabihin, if our price increases, we can expect that the sales will actually decrease by multiple of 3. So halimbawa, if we increase the price by, let's say, 100,000 pesos, then we can expect the sales to increase or decrease rather by 3 times 100, or that will be 300,000 units. Ganun din sa price, positive yung ating coefficient, so therefore positive yung relationship. So ilan naman yung ating multiple regression pagdating sa exams, even sa board exam, wala tayong problem solving sa multiple regression. Kung mayroon man, ang gagawin lang is ipapakita lang yan, yung multiple regression na yan, and itatanungin ka lang, what will happen to this, what will happen to that, if this variable is this, if this variable decreases to this amount and that, and this, and that. So yun lang naman yung ating magiging interpretation pagdating sa multiple regression. When you conduct multiple regression, normally meron din tayo mga dapat tignan. Number 1 is yung correlation. Yung correlation ng dalawang variables. Example, mayroon tayong problem sa inyong end of the chapter, yung interest rate at saka yung sales of bicycle. Dalawang variables yun. Pag mataas na yung interest rates, halimbawa ng mga bangko, what do you expect will happen to the sales of bicycles? Sige nga, let me try. How will you analyze? Kung mas mataas yung interest rate sa bangko, what do you expect to the sales of bicycles? Tataas ba or bababa? Tataas ba or bababa? What will be your analysis? And how will they be connected? Let's say, car na lang, di ba, yung car. Pag mataas kasi yung interest rate ng mga bangko, normally, pag bibili ka ng car on installment, mataas din yung interest rate. In other words, mas mataas yung presyo ng pagkabili mo ng car. In fact, kung bibili ka nga ng car na cash basis, alam ba, ang presyo 700,000 pesos lang. Kung bibili mo siya ng installment, ang total na mababayaran mo for, let's say, 5 years, magiging 1 million. So, makanya yung difference, 300. So, 300, that is because of the interest. So, basically, kung mataas ang interest rate, mataas din yung single ng bangko, mataas yung magiging presyo ng mga product, halimbawa yung car. So, in that example, if interest rate fluctuates and it determines or it correlates to the sales of bicycle, just like in your problem, the expectation is that kung mataas ang interest rate, mababa yung sales. Kung mababa yung interest rate, normally tataas naman yung sales ng ating bicycle. So that is correlation. So correlation will tell us kung positive ba or negative yung relationship ng dalawang variables. In our example na bicycle, negative. Pag tumaas yung interest rate, bababa yung sales. Pag bumaba yung interest rate, tataas yung sales. On the other hand, ang value ng correlation is between -1 and +1. So +1 is the highest, or +1 and -1 are the strongest correlation. Strongest sila kasi nga closer to 1 or -1. Yung negative only connotes negative relationship. Hindi porket negative ay mababa or weak yung relationship. Next, coefficient of determination. Ito rin ay lumalabas sa regression when we conduct regression analysis. Halimbawa, yung ating sales are determined by the three variables. Yung first variable natin, advertisement. And yung pangalawa, price of the Hilux, for example. And then yung pangatlo is price of the Raptor. So tatlong variables yon that determine the quantity of sales of our product na Hilux. The coefficient of determination, yung result nito is ranging from 0 to 1. So it will determine kung ano yung percentage ng changes in the sales of Hilux that are determined or explained by our model. Kasi halimbawa, tatlo lang yung variables natin, pero lumabas sa regression analysis natin na ang coefficient of determination is, let's say, 50%. Ang ibig sabihin ng 0.5 na 50%, yung sales natin, yung data natin, yung variation nun is explained by yung 50% of the variations in the data is explained by our independent variables. In other words, meron tayong other 50% na hindi ma-explain ng ating model. And that is obviously reasonable. Kasi nga, hindi naman porket meron tayong regression model ay yun na mismo yung exactly magde-determine kung ano yung mangyayari sa sales. Meron ding other factors that will determine the sale. So, ibig sabihin, kung mababa yung coefficient of determination, kunti lang yung percentage of the sales that are explained, or the variation of sales that are explained by our regression. So, that is coefficient of determination. And after that, pumunta tayo sa counting methods. Skip ko na to. At saka yung Delphi or judgmental methods, yung ating Delphi at saka yung ating expert opinion. So Delphi method, basically the idea is, ibibigyan natin ng survey questionnaires yung mga respondents. We are going to ask them halimbawa, how much is the price? Sige na, kayong tanungin ko. Itong binili namin na speaker, tanungin kayo sa first row. Itong binili ko na speaker, binili namin na speaker, binili namin ito sa Iligan for the bridging program. Hindi ko sabihin yung price, so let me ask the first row individually kung magkano sa tingin nila na presyo ng speaker na to and what do you think is the reason bakit ganyan yung presyo ng speaker na to. Let me start from you. Estimate lang, there is no right or wrong answer. Give me a specific number na lang. Kahit ano, there is no right or wrong answer. 3,000? 3,000 according to her. How about you? 3,500? Sa'yo, Minodar? 15,000? Parang narinig mo ata. Okay, so that is the reason. Branded daw, Samsung. Okay? How about you? 5? Baka ano yung reason mo? Bakit 5,000? What do you think is the reason? Okay, dahil may light sa gilid, normally pag may light sa gilid ay cheap. How about you? 12,000. Okay, 12,000. Bakit? Maganda yung quality. Okay, so now let me tell you na ang sinabi ng other members ay narinig naman yung sinabi nila, di ba? So let me ask you again, considering yung response ng other members, what will be your estimate of the price of this speaker again? Let me ask you, will you stick to your guess? 13,000? How about you? You will stick to 3,500 pa rin? Sa'yo? Nilagyan pa niya sa 17. How about you? 11, so medyo tumaas na. Silo? Ano? Still, 13,000 pesos. So the idea is we will continue until all of them will be able to come up with basically one single data. Actually, the price of this, dalawa kasi binili namin, ang presyo nito ay 30,000, dalawa. Ibig sabihin, sa 15 yan. So, tama yung guess mo kanina, hindi mo lang sana ganun. Pero 17,000, yung nakalagay na price. Pero may discount. Sa Imperial kasi namin pinili. So, Samsung, kaya mahal kasi Samsung branded. So, yun nga. That's the Dell 5. So, you basically give question or respondents, you give them to explain their reasons, and then you give them back the survey with the comments from the other members of the experts. Ganun yung Dell 5. Expert opinion, tatanungin lang naman yung mga opinion ng experts. And those are the forecasting models that we discussed in this chapter. And the last part is simply determining how accurate our models. We are going to compare yung different methods of forecasting. We request kahit sino sa mga reporters natin ang willing, if you can discuss this, kahit sino gusto, you may discuss it. Maybe yung may mag-discuss ng introduction and ipapasa niya yung microphone to the other. Kahit sino, hindi na ako tatawag para hindi tayo ma-disturbo. Kahit sino ang gusto mag-volunteer from the reporters, para sila naman yung magbigay sa microphone kung sino mag-report.
Online please, finish up pa.
Hello. So, moving on to our last topic, which is yung mean absolute deviation. So, this is the simplest method of determining forecasting accuracy. The average of the absolute differences between the forecasted value and actual values. So, nare-remember you guys yung nasabi ko before na yung mga na-compute natin is just a well-informed estimates lang naman dun. So, kahit may forecasting model ka and you use it and may forecast ka na, that doesn't mean na 100% accurate yung forecast. So this is mean absolute deviation. We compare yung mga model na ginamit natin kasi walang hierarchy doon sa mga model. They are all the same and nakadepende na yun sa forecasting in charge. So, pag mag-determine tayo ng mga error, usually usually what do we do? Di ba mag-minus sa actual and yung forecast. So yung difference nila, that is the error, and kapag nakakuha tayo ng negative error, for example, then kailangan natin itong i-absolute. Meaning, dito sa mean absolute deviation, ang error natin should be absolute. So for example, negative 1 yung naging error. So pag i-absolute natin yun, magiging positive 1. Very good. So para mas maintindihan natin to, let's have an example. So, this illustration, ang ginamit daw dito is 3 months moving average. And for the month of May, may 32 na forecast, and then yung actual sales may 38 units. So the difference between the two is the error. So as you can see guys, hindi siya 100% accurate. Kumbaga, nung May, na forecast mo, is 32 lang yung mabibenta mo. But it turns out that 38 yung nabenta mo. So the difference, again, is the error. So, dito naman, for the month of June, 35.33 yung forecast mo. And then, yung actual mo is 35. So, anong nangyari? May error na negative 0.33. But, dito sa yes, may error na 0.33. So, ang gagawin lang, ipa-plus mo yung dalawang absolute error, then divided it by the number of periods. So, in this case, ang ginamit na period is 2 months. But, yung mga information na forecast is from using the simple moving average. Another example is yung 4 months simple moving average na naman. So, ganun lang yung process. You take the difference, you add the absolute error, and divide it by the number of periods. Same lang sila guys. Dito naman, 4 months moving average, take the difference, divided by the number of periods, you have your MAD, mean absolute deviation. And then the last one, exponential smoothing yung ginamit. So same process pa rin, kahit anong model. You take the difference, you divide it by the number of periods, you have your MAD. And then, para ma-measure natin yung forecasting accuracy or alin ba yung pinaka-better or much rather accurate, titingnan natin alin dito yung may pinaka-maliit na MAD. Meaning, kaya maliit yung MAD niya kasi closer siya sa accurate. Kumbaga, konti lang yung naging error doon sa model na yun. So in this case, alin dito yung among these 5 model, alin dito yung mas magandang gamitin or mas magandang ginamit? 5. So, ayun lang yung competition and the concept behind the absolute deviation.
Copy ngayon ng point. End of the chapter na problem. Ayaw mong i-solve, Sulaiman? Wala akong please. Asan yung mga asan yung mga lima ninyo? Absent?
Kaya
May mga lima. So, may solution naman kayo dito, di ba? Tapos na? Pag-solve na lang sa kanila yung problem number 5, tapos yun nga, group na lang, tapos Ayun na? Question number 5, problem number 5. Given the sales on computers below. The solution na rin dyan? Ay, wala.
Ikaw ang give me the sales.
Wala.
Sabi na lang namin.
Sige.
Sir, problem number 5.
Problem number 5.
Ilan, sir?
Makasama lahat kayo. Pwede kayong group per row.